looking over Big Push Power versus the Seven Rings. The first map in this series was picked up by the side of Big Push Power. They took us to Battlefield of Eternity. Okay, hurry up. Download that game. Let's go. Let's go. Loading screens. Loading screens. Anyways, let's call this stuff out. On the side of Big Push Power, we have Flyest Raven on Thrall, Sovereign on Brightwing, Mike on Li Ming, Match Ready TTO on Diablo, and C2D2 on Sonya. For the side of Seven Rings, we have Squirrel on Junkrat, Cyrus on Rexar, Root Beer Guy on Lucio, and Zebediah on Muradin, and I don't want to pronounce that Valen name. That'll take literally a century to get right. It's literally just Cursed Barcode. That is what you're going to be called. Cursed Barcode. That's your name now. That's your life. Own it.
The battle begins in 10 seconds.
For the side of Big Push Power, looks like their race is primarily baked into a 4-man Thrall and the potential Q-build Li Ming. You have Q-build Vala on the side of Seven Rings, so they have the options for deep-seeing people down. Dwarf Block is active, and they have Junkrat to control the point. Bird of Prey is taken on Rexar. Seems like Wave Clear is the priority here, and that's not the right casting tool. Okay. For the first 30 minutes of this game, we were showing the drafting screen, because I'm very smart. Ay, ay, ay. Like, you build a muscle memory for this kind of thing with your hotkeys, and then you just start pressing the wrong buttons. C2D2 and Cyrus, trading it out, duking it out. That lane is very even. And Zobadai takes a bunch of damage. TTO absolutely finesses that Muradin. Flyest Raven. And Mike barely used any mana, while the Vala is still really low. TTO uses Mike as bait, and that Vala goes down. Ooh, well played, sir. That is DPS synergy, and Cyrus and Squirrel, meanwhile, managed to take out our friend on the Sonya. Sovereign goes up for the clear. Zebediah gets the stun, and he walks away. Not much there to do. And the camp goes to the side of Big Push Power. Squirrel and Cyrus take the bot side camp in kind. C2D2 comes on in, and appears to be starting the bot side bruiser camp. It's an interesting play. Beating arrows out for Vala. And TTO managed to get Zebediah with another combo, but can't quite close it out. Meanwhile, both camps are on the verge of completion. Sovereign has been soaking this lane the entire time. Lots of chip given up. But in exchange, it means that they can cap this camp right the second they want to. They're holding it longer than the side of Seven Rings. It's unusual play. But it does mean that Squirrel will have to clear this out. Ball already begins on the race, and when it comes to Li Ming talents, we're looking at Trim. So it's not really that hard in the race. The Volus doesn't quite close it out because those Thrall auto attacks hit like a truck. Meanwhile, Cyrus gets 5-man ganked, and Cyrus drops. Camp and then dies through tower. Walla doesn't have her Monster Hunter yet, so can't quite finish this out fast enough. Means that Goliath Raven and crew can just step up, clear it out, and the first one goes to Big Push Power. Meanwhile, that bot side camp got a lot of value.
The light of the Crystal Arch shines on.
But multiple bogeys from the side of Seven Rings decide to go bot side first, only to rotate as the Immortal moves. You're going to miss out on a little bit of a damage phase here, and they don't get 7 before the defense. Sovereign gets flipped over the wall and goes down. However, that Li Ming very nearly gets taken out by Mike. Level 7's come out. We are looking at Monster Hunter now. Walla now has the options available.
Thus ends my assault on hell. I must rest for a time.
Can't hide this, right? Yes, I can. That'll be something new for replay casts. Oh well. TTO? What was this level 7 again? It's pure on spell power build. It is a Diablo that wants to get out, and live. Get in, get out, and live. Ooh, TTO with the big flank. Catches that Vala. Zabadai just tanking damage, gets flipped. He jumps, but it's too late. C2D2 catches Root Beer out. That is a huge power swing for Big PP. They're almost certainly going to be able to close it out after this one. Wait, it feels inauthentic to say it that way. TTO gets caught on the flank, but gets out nice and safely. Doesn't even pop that spell shield. Big PP doesn't necessarily need to go straight for this objective. They have the 10 advantage. They can take that fight and they can win that fight.
It is time for a change in strategy.
Big push power. They've lost half a phase here, but they have the edge when it comes to this stage. They're going to be able to step on in, use Thrall for the race, use CTO for the zoning, and they just finish this off before Seven Rings can do a lick about it. And that's rough, buddy. Sovereign goes down before that. CTO's trying to make it out alive. Lightning Breath is activated. And he manages to hold his ground and live here. Vala gets caught out, gets leaped, and now there isn't a race for the side of Seven Rings in this phase. Root Beer Guy goes down again. Without hesitation, C2D2 goes in for the clear. So does the Rexar. Raw pick is definitely one of the things that has given Big Push power. A lot of race, a lot of versatility. It's an interesting call. And Cyrus has been flanked out. TTO not even needed, doing that deep flank, making sure that nobody can escape. And Cyrus had no chance of making it out alive from that fort. Well done by Big Push power. This Diablo is going to be a notable threat. Alright then, I am going to press speed up button. Seven Rings clears out the camp. Big PP takes the bot side camp. And they make it to 13 first. TTO gets caught on the flank. Continues to press W, continues to finesse. And Zobadai takes the engage. C2D2's on the flank, though. Leaf misses. Thunder misses. One failed engage isn't necessarily a bad thing from Big Peep. From Push Power situation, as they are more than capable of playing it slow and winning the next imminent fight. They have the 13 advantage. They have options. There's no real rush. Ooh. See, devastating charge. Little bit spicy, relatively speaking, when it comes to Diablo builds. Higher burden of execution, but when that talent pops off, it pops. Once again, Seven Rings goes on in, gets that clear phase early. But that's not everything on this map, as we've seen. Big Push Power has used that time to create two big pushes. And now the pressure's on Seven Rings to adequately respond to this. Flyest Raven is already starting that DPS on Thrall. And 13s are coming out on the side of Seven Rings. Surprisingly, it's Push Power that manages to swap that phase. Oh. Zobadai forced to pop, and Avatar there. Cyrus clearing out that topside push, but in the meantime, Big Push Power gets another Immortal. It's important to understand, especially on maps like Battlefield of Eternity, whenever the objective is a big time sink to kill one way or another, you either find a way to minimize that time sink down to a few seconds, or you find a way to make it so that doing that time sink is free. The big problem for Seven Rings is, even if they can manage... Ooh, TTO on a big flank here. Oh, Sonder somewhat denies the charge, but that's okay. There will be other opportunities for Big Push Power. Anyways, as I was saying... Oh, Zobadai gets cleansed out. Running a little low on HP now, though. C2D2 gets thrown, and the leap lands just as Avatar pops out, and he still dies. 3-man stun by Cyrus, but Nisha goes down. This is going to be a lost keep. looking for that Vala kill. TTO needs to stay alive. Those souls don't come back easy.
Thus ends my assault on hell. I must rest for a
Big problem for Seven Rings is they have built their comp around the premise of winning objectives with that Vala burn, but beyond that, they can't really do anything else with it. And that means when they lose objectives, the disadvantage really shows. Meanwhile, Big Push Power has been far more flexible with how they handle this map. They've been looking for other options, taking camps at every opportunity. They've done a few ganks. And TTO walks on out. Level diff showing itself again. Subadai hiding in that bush, but that kind of play simply does not work when you're the ones who need to look for a pick. Seven Rings is on the back foot, and it's likely this game will be closed out shortly. Double 16s coming out for both teams. That's the stats, though. Let's show that instead. Meanwhile, Sovereign uses bait. Zobadai takes it, but doesn't die because the rest of the team isn't quite there to follow through. Zobadai manages to catch Mike, but there's no real follow-up. Cleanse is used by Sovereign, though. And now, Big Push Power has a myriad of ways to win. They can wait for those catapults and that camp to put pressure. They can take a direct fight pre-20.
power before me.
Or they could just ship out the Immortal Phase. TTO goes in for cheeky flank. TTO reveals his positioning. And backs out. Zobadai, on the other hand, is caught by a wall bang. And Root Beer Guy goes down. It's important to note that Zobadai, for his gameplay, is in fact a sub for Vina Quaker. Oh no, that is a dead Vala.
Red team's core is under attack.
It's rough, but oh. That's how it be sometimes. Scheduling conflicts happen. It's one of the things that teams have to deal with.
Victory.
Just part of the metagame.
Righteousness.
TTO gets in on the flank. That tower's dropped for him.
The wickedness of hell.
Flash Raven sidesteps with Stormbolt. And Cyrus looks for the flank. TTO steps on in. And the gate is dropped just as the Immortal comes on in. Only manages to get a single hit on the gate. But it's forced out on Zobadai. The boop lands, but it doesn't drop anyone in mines. TTO is tanking tower shots. And the Immortal takes less damage as a result. He goes back to full. They move out of that Junkrat trap. And the keep is down. This fight could answer things, but they're so close to 20 on the side of Big Push Power. They play a little bit slower. There it is. And Zobadai goes down. That front line is going to be a lot harder for Seven Rings to stay alive. Down on the side of Big Push Power, but Seven Rings core goes down. Alright, let's move on to game 2. This is a map pick from the side of... Whoa, the screen must have been dark there for a few seconds. This is a map pick from the side of Seven Rings, however. Does not go into their favor. Alright. Let's get into game number 2. Alright, welcome to game number 2.
Prepare yourselves for battle, heroes.
Alright, we have Incoherent Barcode on Chromie, Cyrus on Dahaka, Squirrel on Tychus, Zubadai on Johanna, and Root Beer Guy on Rhaegar. For the side of Big Push Power, we have Sovereign on Brightwing, Match Ready TTO on Diablo, C2D2 on Blaze, Flyest Raven on Falstad, and Mike on Mephisto. Just going to call out the bans, because I know I forgot to do that for this game. So let's restart that now that I have them. The bans on the side of Big Push Power were Garrosh, Sylvanas, and Deathwing. Seven Ring banned Hogger, Junkrat, and Zeratul. Looking at spell power, anti-spell Dahaka, conventional Blaze, Q build Mephisto, Q build Falstad, and we are seeing W build Chromie. Wave priority goes to the side of Push Power, and Flyest Raven starts clearing well before 007 rotates down. TTO plays a little bit more cautiously into the Tychus, but once again, Soak advantage really coming on in hot for the side of Big Push Power. Flyest Raven and Mike begin the camp. Looks like an invade call has been made, but Zubadai finds a resisting opponent. He gets heavily invaded on. Flyest Raven stands his ground. Barcode gets stopped, and the camp is lost, but the Chromie goes down. Squirrel looks like he manages to close out on TTO, but he then proceeds to fall. No, he survives with 200 HP. Sovereign makes it out with 90 HP. Flyest Raven goes in and gets the kill on Squirrel. C2D2 continues to right-click faces, and I can't pronounce his name, I'm so sorry. Root Beer Guy goes down next. Ugh. I keep calling him Zubadai, but that's absolutely wrong. Let me actually, I will look at this. Zubahi? Zubahi. Okay. I don't know where Zubadai came from, but that is where my uncultured brain went to first. Seven Rings. Right-clicks their own camp. Zubahi and Barcode individual Chromie started out. Big Push Power goes on in. and gets their Bruiser camp promptly. They're doing it fast, and they're doing it with their offlaner and their Falstad. They're going to be able to secure this objective first? No. TTO scouts out the Bruiser camp, but that's not where Seven Rings is. They're taking the bot side siege camp. Now Cyrus and Raven both head topside. They're both matching paces with each other. And control looks like it's actually going to be somewhat in the favor of Big Push Power here. Cyrus is forced to stay and clear the camp. Flyest Raven gets down first. Zubahi manages to get Wombo comboed, and the Chromie goes down. I want to do an instant replay with that one. Falstad flies down. E2 goes in, lands the wall bang. C2D2 postures, slips in, lands a double stun. Mike and Flyest Raven focus down the Chromie. And Cyrus comes in, but it's too late. Just barely misses the opportunity to tongue anyone. The lane gets cleared out. And C2D2 goes back onto the point. Zubahi and Root Beer Guy try to punish that, but certain DPS characters are coming back in for this fight. Zubahi is getting manhandled, and TTO isn't getting punished because Mike is there and creating problems on the back line. Once again, the objective is taken by Big Push Power. Mike steps on in, damages that Chromie, clear out the wave. It is a Mortar Punisher, and is that Convict? That is Conviction, okay. Seven Rings clears it out quite effectively. Only loses the better half of their gate. Flyest Raven catches that soak. The XP lead is just slightly ahead to the side of Big Push Power. Zubahi is once again looking for Zubahi. I can't pronounce it properly. No matter how many times I look at the correct pronunciation, brain don't work. Oh, Johanna's caught out. TTO keeps on firing out the W's. Anyways, without much further ado, C2D2 comes down in, and the camp is secured for the side of Big Push Power. Anyways, Flyest Raven is in a good position to immediately respond to globals. Cyrus has the same option. Right now, Big Push Power has that ult advantage. Definitely want to find a way to capitalize it. But it looks like the folks on the side of Big Push Power are going to have to contend with getting a bit of a split push with Flyest Raven, getting a bit of that damage in, and having TTO anchor this bot side camp. They managed to secure it out. Cyrus is forced to respond topside, and the mid lane camp is likely going to be cleared by C2D2 in a few seconds. Ultra taken on both sides. We see a few weird ones, and by a few I mean we see Temporal Loop and Adaptation on the side of Seven Rings. Adaptation does seem odd here when you are borderline already immune to the majority of the damage coming out from the Mephisto and the Falstad, but he's extra immune now. And the Time Loop, while good into Brightwing, does give up a lot of point control.
The shrine gathers power.
Cyrus moves topside. And Zabahi gets chipped, takes the damage, and has to deal with it. You can see it. Sovereign is right there, playing opposite side. And Cyrus is only now going bot side. This gives Big Push Power a huge impetus to win this objective. Got the level advantage. And they've got the priority. Elias Raven is using that to do a bit of damage. And C2D2 begins to clear. Mike gets hit by a tongue. Ancestral gets dropped. And C2D2 throws out Bunker. Falling Sword. Okay. That's an odd one. Gustus forced out on the side, a Big Push Power. And yeah. Elias Raven makes it out of the loop, just barely. Mike's ult allows TTO to set up a combo on the Johanna. And C2 postures. And it looks like the Chromie is in imminent danger of that. TTO continues to just throw out the damage, throw out the punches. This objective is a lock for Big Push Power now. C2D2 builds priority, catches a lot of that soak. And yeah. That's rough. Squirrel also comes down to respond to C2D2 as Cyrus is a bit preoccupied. It's a lot of free chip for nothing, and this is a frozen Punisher too. Elias Raven nearly pops, but still in this. This push can keep going. And TTO goes on for another zany flank. Mike gets caught by the flip and sidesteps to the last Chromie W. Elias Raven heads on mid, does a bit of damage. This push with the Punisher, even though it's at 50%, is being abandoned in favor of taking out another fort. Snappy push decision making from a team that's all about big pushes. Elias Raven gets on out. That's proper. Cyrus misses the Q, but he did manage to take a siege camp while we weren't looking. TTO waiting in the bush. Big problem for Seven Rings is that their engagement options aren't great. Alright. That just happened. Anyways. Big Push Power on the verge of hitting 16. C2D2 starts to push out here. Squirrel goes in to try to stop it, and C2D2 takes no damage. Okay. Standard issue Mephisto brawling. Just a battle of attrition that is difficult to deal with. In this case, a W build Diablo is fantastic at handling this. Unfortunately, Johanna is less capable of handling these long fights. That mana bar will run out if it goes on too long. Big push power, putting on the pressure on all the lanes. 7 rings, really clumping up, really playing scared here. They've got their tank just sitting down, and another fort falls. Wherever this objective goes, it's gonna be rough. CZ2 once again playing the camp holding game. Probably not worth it in this case. And Flies Raven steps up to get the clear. One of the things that I don't like so far about Big Push Power's decision making is it's all in those holds. All that time you spend sitting down, waiting for the camp to be optimal, that's time that you could have spent clearing this objective initially. Root Beer guy goes down, making the second kill before this phase. It's likely the Big Push Power will be able to breathe on this fort, take it down, and then go for the objective. Oh, what? TTO catches out. Wait, no. Mike catches out. Chromie. Squirrel drops the spray, drops the shield, and dies. Meanwhile, Mike catching that mid lane soak, keeping that level advantage going up. CTD2's clearing out those camps. TTO, Flyest Raven, they are immediately going in. They're getting chipped. They are doing what they should do with this advantage, and they are making sure that this Punisher will hit for maximum damage.
Blue team has summoned an arcane Punisher.
And the fort and the keep goes down. 20s are out for the side of Big Push Power. It's likely that here and now they'll be able to close out this game. Mighty Gust hits, and the Chromie goes down, and Cyrus goes down. TT2 lands another shot, and Root Beer Guy very nearly goes down before getting on in. And that's game over. Squirrel manages to bait the Punisher over the wall, buys a little bit of time, but it's just too late. But yeah, so that's how that series worked out. I'll let Squirrel commentate on that. You know? Anyways, cheers. I'm probably going to move on to Storm League at this point. Have a good day, everybody. Okay. Josh. Toodaloo. 1 second.